Francesca Zambello, thanks for your time.
Lovely to be here.
Now, you've just finished Showboat in Chicago. Did you feel like you wanted to do the real thing, did you?
I felt like I wanted to come here and be on the waters here with our stage, which is truly floating. We're out on pylons on the actual Sydney Harbour.
When this was first proposed to you, let's do La Traviata on the water, on the harbour, be honest, what was your first impression?
I was very, very excited by it. I think that Lyndon is a wonderful visionary, and I immediately jumped at the opportunity to do something different and unique and in this really just magical setting. I mean, I know people say that, but even as I sit here at night in rehearsals, I'm just captivated by the beauty of what's around us as well as what's on our stage.
What are some of the challenges that when those of us sitting in the audience would never think of? What are some of the challenges you've had to bear bringing this here?
The challenges are, of course, nature. I mean, you can't fight Mother Nature. So we've lost some rehearsal time because of inclement weather. The bats fly over, so we've put blue lights around the outside of the set to keep the bats away. I mean, just things that you would never think of, which make it a different experience. And of course, the fact that you as a director are competing with nature, you want to make sure you make something just as interesting here on the stage as out there.
So you mean with the bats pooing on you?
Yes, the bats. So, but we are.
There's always a critic.
No, there's always a critic, right? But we're in a bat-free zone. They go around now because we've got blue lights around everywhere, and that keeps them away.
Wow.
And then, of course, things like we have people arriving in water taxis as part of the show. We have fireworks. We have this magical chandelier. We have all sorts of things which you would never achieve in an opera house, yet we've tried to take advantage of being outside here.
I was going to say that. You know, there's a perfectly good building just over there that's called an opera house.
I know. Well, this is a chance to experience La Traviata in a very different way, in a way that I think will be fun for people who know the opera and really fun for people who've never been to the opera to come down and see this.
For something like La Traviata, where a lot of folks already have their preconceptions about how it should be, what it is, of course, they know the music. How much does something as specific as the geography of Sydney Harbour lift that, or indeed fight against that?
Well, we've tried to use it in a way that it really complements it. La Traviata takes place in Paris in the mid-19th century, in a time where the city was bursting and decadent and full of life, and I think that's very much like Sydney. Not to say that it's decadent, but you're a culture that enjoys oneself, and so I think we've tried to capitalize on that. We've been inspired by Sydney, by the Mardi Gras, we've updated the piece, which was actually something that Verdi himself said he felt the piece should be set in a more contemporary setting. And so we've taken that to heart, and we've tried to integrate all that is magical about Sydney in this time to make it mesh with Paris of that time.
Now, at the premiere, I know after the premiere, Verdi kept using the word fiasco. What adjective do you think he would apply here as he looks around and if he could see this?
I think like most composers, whether it's Mozart or Wagner or Verdi, if they came and saw their works today, I think they would be thrilled to know that this opera has been alive for 150 years and has been constantly thrilling people with the great emotions of the story. It's a deeply passionate love story with a tragic, tragic ending of her death. And it has these incredibly memorable tunes that I think any composer would be very happy to know that their work had lived that long.
You're later going to be doing La Traviata in Moscow at the Bolshoi.
Yes, ironically...
Are you going to do it on the river there, or the Moscow River?
Ironically, it's a year of Traviata. I am doing Traviata to open the Bolshoi season in the newly renovated theater later this year in September. So I'm looking forward to that. Might be a little bit more traditional than this. But this experience, the rehearsals, the time with the cast and the company has just been so much fun. And we've had a wonderful time together rehearsing here. And then we also rehearsed out at the Olympic Park, which was also a wild experience.
You mentioned some of the characteristics that Sydney's associated with. One of them that Sydney as a city is not normally associated with is culture. How much do you think this may, in an international way, redress that when folks hear what's being done here, combining geography, providing the physical beauty of Sydney, and mixing it with culture? I
think that people respond to that very positively. I think this is a marvelous way to bring tourists here to Sydney to enjoy the finer aspects of culture here through the Australian Opera. We have using their chorus, orchestra, actors and soloists and dancers. And so I think it's a wonderful exposure to the level of talent here in Australia, mixed with also one of the most spectacular settings you could find anywhere in the world for an outdoor setting. This is as unique as the other great outdoor settings like the Arena of Verona, for example, or the Bregenz Festival in Austria, or the Baths of Caracalla in Rome. I think that here, with Linden and with the opera company and with the government, we've taken this wonderful mesh and brought together everyone into something that you just wouldn't see anywhere else. And that's the reason to come see it.
And given that this is $11+ million and then it's all taken away again, for all the reasons you just said, do you think there should be something more permanent here, some sort of permanent stage?
No, I don't. I actually think that what makes something like this special is the fact that hopefully this will become an annual event in the summer here. It'll be something that people look forward to, and it has a real festival feeling. You come, you eat, you drink, you stay after and enjoy the gardens. We're in, to me, one of the most beautiful parks in an urban setting that I have ever seen. And I come from New York where we have Central Park, and this certainly puts Central Park in heavy competition.
And as we speak, I feel the heavens are just ever so slightly spitting on us. How nervous do you get every time you look skyward, especially when you see grey?
We all monitor the radar, the weather radar, a great deal, and we follow the rules of cricket. I'm sure people are asking. For the amount of rain that falls, then that determines whether we stop or take a pause or continue. We'll just have to hope and pray. I mean, it's summer and it should be good weather for the next couple of weeks while we have our performances.
So cricket rules for the opera singers, is that right?
Cricket rules for the opera singers.
So if it's only a little bit, you sing on, the show goes on.
Yes, yes.
Well, may the weather gods be kind to you. Congratulations on this extraordinary spectacle, and as they say, break a leg. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.